Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
Level 23, My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Make sure you follow the show, Twitter and Instagram at MLU Pod. You can talk to me as well at Peter A Radio. Subscribe on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Podbean, iHeart, Stitcher. What else? We on TuneIn as well. Anywhere you get podcasts, people. Got special guests with me tonight. The AKs are here. What's up, guys?
Yo.
Oh my gosh.
It's the daily.
You know, just
How we living?
We're great, man.
Wow.
Appreciate you appreciate y'all having us here.
Very much.
This
Very
is
much.
awesome.
I didn't wake you guys up too early, right?
Nah.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Saturday, this is the perfect time. You know.
You got all your laundry done. You got all your.
I still got to get the laundry done, but we'll handle that later. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Thank you guys for coming on the show today.
Oh, and names.
Definitely.
Names.
Oh yeah, Izrl here. You know what I'm saying?
Hi, Horus. Not to be confused with.
You know what I'm saying?
Not to be confused with.
Feel me?
Yes.
100%.
AKs are here, guys, and it's My Little Underground. And
Really?
I wanna go to the beginning with you guys. You know, the genesis of all this. Walk me through the beginnings of you guys as a group.
Oh man. Okay, so where do we start, man? I feel like the only way to start properly is to say that we've kind of been in the same path before we even met. It's crazy. So we both went to the same. Would you call it an elementary school? It was a day school, pretty much a daycare.
Before preschool.
Shout outs to Queens, you know, Springfield. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Queens Village Day School.
Yeah, no, Queens Village Day School, PS to 51.
Oh, and right.
PS to 51. So we went to the same schools, same elementary schools. Didn't end up meeting until high school. Crazy, right? So we met in high school. I was getting into music. We had a little group going. The Class 6.
Shout
Don't
out
laugh.
to
There
the
was 6 of us, and we dropped
Classics.
Classics. That's how we thought about it. You know.
The Class 6.
The Class 6, right. So before we started the Class 6, you know, this is when, you know, we kind of started, you know, we took the same bus to school, so we both had like the same love for hip hop. And I was just like, yo, you should definitely come down with us and hang and do all the, you know, make music with us, you know what I'm saying? And we were this giant group, the Class 6. And then we were like, you know, we don't want to be called the Class 6 anymore. We want to be the AKs.
Yeah, we had a whole meeting about this shit.
Yeah.
For real. I mean, obviously doing the music or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we definitely sat down for a second. Was like, yo, we gotta get this name right. Like, how we gonna do this?
We can't be the Class 6, you know?
Everybody bouncing around names. Is working in the corner. I see he looked like he got something. He's like, yo, what you think about Absolute Conquest, the AKs? I tripped out. I'm like, yo, that's it. Like, that's the one. 2 seconds later, I think one of the homies in part that was a part of the Classics. He was like,
Nick. I think it was Nick.
Right.
Yeah.
Nick was like, somebody was like, they was kind of fronting for a second, like, I don't know, something. We were like, looked at Iz, he was like, nah.
We're Absolute Conquest.
Right.
So, you know, from there on, we kind of not separated, but just like divvied up into separate groups until, you know, we just became our own independent entity. You know, the AKs, and from there on, it's just been like, you know, it's been great. It's been amazing. You know what I'm saying?
So the name AKs, Absolute Conquest. Like, how do you feel like as a name, a group name, the marketability of the AKs?
I think it's great. I feel like it's extremely marketable, especially, you know, of course, it's very bold. You think of the AKs, you think weaponry, you think warfare. But, you know, it's all good because the way we see warfare is not so much about, like, against other people. It's about warfare of, you know, the things that work around us, anything that stands as an opposing factor. And that's kind of what we preach in our music, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's great, you know, and when we get to meet with our fans and they hear our music, they understand we're not some angry kids trying to, you know, who hate the world, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Please don't think that.
Yeah, definitely not. But I think, you know, we kind of mess around with, you know, controversial words, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's bold. It just gets it to me, you know, like AKs, you know. You see like, you know, rebels with, you know, weapons around there or, you know, strapped around them. And, you know, honestly, that's how we want to take over this music industry, you know. as a way that, we're going to do it our way. We're going to start this push of, togetherness, and we're going to make this music happen.
And shout out to the Bob God, DZ Finesse, because another big inspiration, speaking of rolling off what
of course
Izzy said about, the mindset. I feel like it was very important for us to realize how, where the confidence or how confidence was a factor in this game. Like, there was a lot of times because we were developing, we were kind of like back and forth with, how we motivated ourselves and each other, up until it came to a point where it was like, nah, that's not what this culture is about. It is about being that straightforward. Like, nah, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to this rap, we the nicest people that we know. And we know that we're the nicest. We're gonna, in our heads, this thing that we're creating, we feel as though we want to be a great as well. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. So, and just to roll off what you're saying, not to say that anyone else is not as nice or as bad, but you just gotta be confident in yourself. I always thought about this terminology. People say, like, I'm a god, and people get so offended by the terminology. It doesn't make anyone less of than you. You just got to realize what you're capable of, And if you feel like you can create the greatest things, the greatest shit ever, you should make it, and you should believe that you can make it. That's really what, what we're about in our music,
I don't think there's any ego in saying, you're God, because it's just you strive to be divine.
Of course.
That's all it is.
We all are just a little piece of God, if you think about it. If we think about the, you know what I'm saying? We're just little pieces. He took a piece of himself and just, boom, there you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're all pieces of space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Celestial beings, celestial objects. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So, musically speaking, how was hip-hop, or music in general, introduced to you?
Oh man, shoot. Where do we start? I mean, if you want, you start. And
I know for one, definitely our parents. Like our parents, our family are all very musically inclined. Whether they are in, they make some kind of music or create for themselves, or they're just highly involved, like enthusiast kinds of things. But like my pops was definitely one of my greatest inspirations. I remember a lot of different moments as a kid, seeing how music kind of affected or impacted him in his life. Like, my dad also is like a DJ and producer, so he has a lot of equipment in the basement. He's always blasting some kind of hip hop, something, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, for me, I just had a really good understanding of, what I wanted music to sound like because of things like that. My dad always was on point with explaining to me, or expressing how a lot of this stuff connected with him. And I think without those things, then I wouldn't have been able to connect those dots. You know what I mean? So definitely, yeah.
Family, my uncle, I was at a young age, my uncle, he's kind of hip to stuff like that. He put me on.
Speak closer to the mic.
Sorry, he put me on to. My uncle put me on to DMX. That was the first introduction I got to hip hop. It was like 2000, and it was just so raw, and the energy. And from there on, I kind of just took over for myself. I got my first iPod. LimeWire was coming out.
Yep.
I went through catalogs. You know what I'm saying? I was like, there's no way I'm not gonna just listen to what people are listening to now. I'm gonna go back and study it. And over time, I was just like, damn, I really want to be one of these people here who, that's worth going back for catalogs and listening to music years later. So that's pretty much how I got into music, and,
And then from there, I guess, connecting with the right people, with friends, and with, everyone else throughout the remainder of or throughout that, you know what I'm saying, when we got older kind of thing. I definitely know that strengthened a lot of the bonds that we had with being, trying to get into this artistry and things like that. Publishing music for the public kind of thing. We didn't know we wanted to take it that far up until we started to learn more and more over time.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot of inspiration in different forms, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had the same path as you guys too. Family and music was always around. The radio will be on different radio stations. Hot 97,
CD1.
Yeah.
Yo, even Delilah.
Kiss FM, WBLS.
Shout outs to 106.7, Delilah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Nah, you guys go, all right.
You know,
Whatever floats your boat, you know.
You know, everything,
And
man.
My first album was Michael Jackson's Bad.
Oh, word.
When we talk about going back first, you know what I mean? When I was a kid, people would listen to, like, you know, they would love Blink-182 and Aaron Carter and all that stuff. Me, I had nothing against it of the current state of music as a kid, but I wanted to know where it came from.
Where it came from, right.
Right, where all this stuff is coming from. So speaking of going deeper into music, hip hop music, like how did that come into your music world or music consumption repertoire, I guess?
I feel like, you know, it just caught my ear so well, you know. It just pulled me in, you know. When I first started listening to hip hop, you know, I just kind of started keeping current, and then I just caught a little whiff of underground music when I was in the 6th grade, and that was it for me. I think it was the Cool Kids. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Cool Kids, you know, Mikey Rocks and what's homeboy's name?
I forgot. I know you're talking about that.
Yeah, right. And they were just dropping music, and they were just riding around their bicycles, making the coolest music that no one ever listened to. And then I was just like, man, I gotta dive into it. And then I started listening to other things, and I got into Biggie, and my life just changed pretty much, you know. So, and then pretty much junior high, I linked up with a couple people who are rapping. High school, I actually started rapping. I started rapping in the 9th grade. I was 14. So it was my boy in high school. He's always convinced me, like, yo, you could do this. You should try it. So boom, I was just like, I just started doing it to a point when we were taking SATs. We were like rapping with SAT words. It was crazy, man. But hip hop it took me on a crazy ride. You know, kind of took me in as soon as I heard that heard that DMX. Just dragged me by my ankle, you know. Yeah, you feel me? That Rough Rider music, baby. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty much it for me.
There's one moment that I can remember clearly in about 6th grade. I remember we were talking about the Roxanne Shante. So Def Fresh Crew. My dad would play Def Fresh Crew every day, and he used to drive me to Gotham. Every morning I told him, yo, play Def. I gotta play until I remembered the words. So it's like, you know, I feel like it was those little micro moments, I guess, that helped to build up into something like that. I was super, you know, a lot of that stuff. It was just more so, like develop, you know, something about it, about hip hop, about the way people were rhyming and connecting with music, even on that level. Somebody that can be so hardcore even and still dice up and compose beautiful art, you know what I mean? Like, that was interesting to me. Like, the cool part with me and Izzy is we do listen to everything, so it's not like we grew up listening to strictly hip-hop either, or hip-hop, you know, it was never the only thing we ever wanted to do. It was the one thing we loved the most.
Perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, to keep it short, you know, it's just a lot of different forms of inspiration. So, you know.
Absolutely. That was perfect. Yeah.
Going into hip hop specifically, you know, my parents, especially my dad, would just have music playing. Oh, yeah. So MTV or VH1 will be on, and then you'll see Big Pun, you'll see Biggie.
Oh, that's awesome.
You'll see, you know, because you'll see Eminem, even Jay-Z, and then I just kind of picked from there. You know, Wu-Tang later on. Yeah, and I just think that, you know, we grew up in an area where that's there, and that's very important. Yeah. And you can't escape that. You couldn't escape hip-hop music growing up in New York. You just couldn't. I'm sorry. And, you know, yeah, of course, all of us listen to lots of different things, and you meet new people, and that kind of just, you know, formulates your taste. And now you guys are artists. Yes. Moving along on the timeline. The Law of Attraction album. And the law of attraction is interesting, you know, positive and negative thoughts, or negative thoughts can bring about positive or negative experience.
Right.
Do you believe in this, and have you experienced that?
Every single day. I believe it, you know. We see it every single day by the people we meet, different interactions we have, different mind states. You'd be surprised how many people are, you know, like-minded and are in the same path of achieving, you know, different, you know, and crossing different obstacles. And they kind of see the world. I feel like there is like this, not secret society, but just like a group of people who don't really speak how spiritual they are, but they are super spiritual. And then once you meet, you don't even have to say it, but we're like, okay, we're here right now. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, we're both trying to like boost each other up. And, you know, you start making all these connections and all these friendships and all these relationships of people who believe in the laws of attraction and really want to, you know, maximize their interactions and trying to, you know, especially the positive ones. Of course, negative ones happen, and you take what you get, and you try to, you know,
learn and you grow.
Absolutely. So yeah, no, I definitely am about that. I feel like we're definitely about that. You know, we speak about it. There'll be times we're on the phone speaking about something, and we're just like, whoa, that's.
And that could probably break down. We'd be on the phone for God knows how long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. I think as much as it is something that is super thorough, so many layers to all of it, Laws of Attraction was extremely straightforward for us. It got everything that we were trying to say up all in 3 words, the 3 of the best words that a lot of people, you know, resonated with a lot of people already. So people were familiar with that kind of thing. So, you know, when you have these kinds of conversations, there's but so many places you can go with it. You want to make sure that you can have some kind of direct notion. It can't be left for thought, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we didn't want. We wanted to make sure, okay, if this was something that we wanted to promote, we'd make it super just direct, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
a lot of times sitting down thinking about it. When we said the laws of attraction, we had to sit down and say, do we want to call this project the laws of attraction?
Right.
And, you know, there was no way around it. That was it, you know. Dealing with the experiences that we've been through, all the situations that we've seen, that was the perfect way to embody the music that we had on that project. So, yeah.
So, speaking about speaking things into existence,
absolutely.
You know, even as artists, did you ever feel like, oh, when you book a show, oh, no one's gonna come to our show, and no one comes to the show, or when you say, maybe some people will show up, and then like lots of people show up? Has that ever happened?
I feel like as artists, in the same breath, and say that we're confident, we're also humble. I feel like whether it be 5 people that show up or 60 or 100 people that show up, we're grateful that, you know, people come and support, and, you know, they can share the love of this music for us. So we're going to give the same energy despite how many people come through. So we want to believe that, you know, no matter what show we do, no matter what circumstance, it's going to be a great show. Doesn't matter whether the sound equipment is bad or the venue might be a little weird. We're going to come through, and we're going to try and do it to the best of our ability. There's definitely been shows where, you know, there's not many people showed up, and it's still a vibe, and we're all connected. Honestly, sometimes you have a great show and there's only 3 people in attendance, you know, because you could actually link and talk about things and delve on different topics and form very dope connections, you know.
And actually build from there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've had shows, we've had probably more people there and might not have networked or, you know, been able to kind of, resource-wise, it might not have been something that we grew from. It might have just been a show. I'd hate for us to just go perform somewhere and it not be received in any way at all. Even if it's not you don't like our music, even if us as people are interesting and based on our personality, whatever the case, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, exactly I really, you know, just making sure that it's efficient no matter whatever, you know, the kind of the situation is kind of
right.
Thing, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But Laws of Attraction is definitely something that we felt like it almost created itself. We obviously laid down all the groundwork, but when it came down to things like shows, I don't think we learned a lot more doing stuff that we didn't plan for than for stuff that we were trying to, you know, put together and make sure it was super concise. Like, it was those shows that we might have went to, it was like, yo, you really want to go to this? And we were like, I'm not sure, and yada, yada, yada. But when we got there, it was amazing. And it was something that probably got us more feedback and more traction than anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? So, but the laws, more laws for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So and that was the funny part. Like, no matter what we did, it always came back to that. So far as it was lyrics
Yeah.
on the record that we hadn't
Yeah.
put together.
It's crazy. Even the way we kind of not to dive too off topic, but even when we're like writing music, you know, you'll be surprised some of the lyrics that we come up. We're just like, where the hell did that come from? You know what I'm saying? But it's just really about two positive forces being in the room, or multiple positive forces in the room, just trying to like continue to progress, you know, and speak things into existence, things that you don't even know that are swimming into your brain, you know, and then boom, it comes out of your mouth, and it's just like, whoa, Mona Lisa. Feel me?
I think it's cool that, you know, you guys have physical music, like records. And let's say if you had, you know, a T-shirt or even a sticker, and you go to a show and like 3 people show up. You give these stickers to those 3 people. You don't know who those 3 people know.
Right.
You know, they can have 30,000 followers on Instagram, or they can be very popular and have throw parties every weekend, and then they can give a sticker or play the music in front of somebody else, and it's a ripple effect. It just keeps going on. You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, you guys are in a position where when you play a show or whatever, there's not a whole lot of money involved. You know what I mean? So you can afford to have like 2 or 3 people at a show, because, you know, you're still in that position where you can have these intimate moments where you're getting to know people and people getting to know you. So, switching gears. So your vinyl, your actual album, like how did you get it pressed? Because I know a lot of local artists that have no vinyl at all. So how did you guys make that happen?
It's the cool part.
Right. Shout outs to Radio Juicy. We sat down with Radio Juicy, a label out in Europe. Us and Radio Juicy, we've been very close for a very long time.
Before we started kind of getting into the artistry too. Like I'd say just before, if anything.
Yeah. I think we released our first song, and we kind of just started to like, you know, meet those guys, and they reached out to us, and you know, they really,
that's where the communication opened up.
The lines opened up, and so, you know, we showed him the project, and he really digged it. You know, at first, which is crazy. The pressing, it's laws of attraction right there. Initially, we weren't. The initial plan wasn't to press. It's just based on the feedback and how the album, the project was received. And then he said, you know, a company reached out, said they want to press the vinyl. You know, they want to press the album. Right. And so, you know, we had a contract set up, and pretty much, you know, within a few months, they sent us shipments of the vinyls. So shout outs to Radio Juicy for making that happen.
Heavy.
You know, because we always wanted to have physical units, and you know, of course, you know, being that it's a 6-song project, you know, it's not a long project, you know. He said, you know, we're gonna make this work. This is a great project. You know, A side you have all the songs with lyrics. B sides we have the instrumentals. You know, which is really cool. You know, it made me feel like, wow, I'm really part of the Tribe Called Quest. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty awesome, and I definitely suggest, you know, if you're an artist, you know, get your album pressed, you know, have some kind of physical units, you know, people, because it's a work of art, and what's cooler about it is like, because people think music is just, you know, something that's intangible, but when you have that work of art, that piece, that CD, that tape, that vinyl in front of you, it's a moment that you could always have, you know, no matter what happens, it exists to you. You know what I'm saying? The album was so important that you had to go and get the embodiment and hold it in your hands. So definitely.
How can artists go about doing that? Like getting the process of getting a record pressed?
Well, they have a couple of pressing, you know, vinyl presses in the city.
Metro area.
Yeah, metro area.
Yeah.
You know, we got ours overseas, but there's definitely areas out here, you know. I can't remember the name of one. We do know of one that's in Manhattan, correct?
Something like, yeah, help. But I mean, to be honest with you, it all depends on location. I guess for starters, but two, if you can, because a lot of people are just have a hard time, or a lot of companies, I should say, have hard times pressing smaller amounts. So that's where, if you're pressing a smaller amount, you probably should go through a third party, like let's say you are partnered with an agency or a label, you know, that handles the distribution, or because there are cases where you can do that without having to necessarily cash up front.
Right.
So, you know, there are just a few ways to do that. The one spot that was in New York, because I definitely want to make sure we shout out the New York spots too.
Definitely.
Was, and part of my timing on that.
Right. We'll get it.
Yeah. But yeah, just all to say there, you know, there's definitely a few ways.
There's a few. You know, there's also a few websites online that'll press pretty much anything. You get CDs. You got the name?
EasyDisc.net.
There you go.
There you go. Artists out there, definitely take notes.
Right.
Yeah.
But vinyl is still prevalent. It's so crazy how like analog music is still very important to music lovers. I think about 3 million people listen to vinyl.
Yeah.
Or vinyl nuts. And a lot of pressing plants, I've been reading articles for the past couple of years, have been overwhelmed with demand of pressing vinyl. You know what I mean? There actually needs to be more because the demand is so high.
Well, you know,
it's so crazy.
It's actually not, as far as I've realized, pressing a vinyl is not an easy process. That's the one thing too. Yeah. It takes time to press vinyl, and I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, I feel like now it's more so catching on in the States, but in Europe, they're still very there's record shops that are very much so alive. You know.
Especially here in New York.
Oh, of course, yes, definitely.
In comparison to Europe, though,
yeah,
but culture-wise, it seems like and not even just music, but for art, the whole art world out in Europe, they have a lot more appreciation for supporting the art world. Like, I feel like out here, you wouldn't. A lot of those conversations, setting up business, being an artist, and literally finding a record store to print. It's not as easy.
It's not, especially when you're an underground artist. You know, it's a little bit more difficult to get your records in front stores. Of course,
unless you have
a
stack on you.
Of course. You know, like but you know, you go. You know, we have so much love for, you know, the different countries in Europe. You know, they show so much support, and it's great. You know, it's great to be here and to just kind of like be able to. I love being in this time is great because you could just, you know, you could really come out and just have fans from everywhere without having to necessarily travel. And we do plan to go to Europe. A lot of places, definitely, and you know, reach out to the different fans and connect. It's just great to be in this time. 2019 is amazing. You know. Yeah, music might be a little bit tighter to get to draw money out of, but it's just amazing and how far it can travel, you know.
And funny you say that too. That's what we're focused on, is building valuable records. So that's the thing, like, you know, streaming is the big thing right now, right? So everybody is attacking. It's been the big thing for
convenient,
the past
you know,
decade now, almost about 5 years to a decade now. So it's like, you know, everybody, and while it is super convenient and pretty much accessible to anyone nowadays, the when it comes to, you know, financially, how that's gonna then support the hypothetical underground artists.
Not even underground. We could talk about mainstream artists as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It may not be as easy. So creating a value where you can drive traction elsewhere, like a vinyl that you may put out, that's where I feel like the creativity could be involved. Not something that's in stone. We're not trying to only put out vinyl, but I would say when it comes to vinyl and CDs and tapes and stuff like that, I'll buy a tape. I bought tapes this year.
Buy tapes, yeah.
So I think it's really just about the kind of you know, what you're actually bringing to the table. Can you get people to want to go get that CD and play it in their car instead of the whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that I think is one of the biggest things. It's just not creating records. Laws wasn't, you know, random songs we just found, we wrote some verses to. Like, we took time, literally so much time.
Yeah, the album pretty much formulated itself.
And that was literally.
Real quick, you know, the thing is, the album, and I love the album. You know, some people don't have CDs, you know, or tape players or record players. I feel like it's become you know, like the modern day Pokemon cards. You know, you kind of just collect them, and you know, we fan over them. You know, we try to achieve to get different vinyls. You know, songs or albums that, you know, helped you in different points in your life. Even me, I'm trying to go back and get certain vinyls. I was trying to get the Infamous on tape one time. It was pretty hard to get. I lost that one.
But even that, you gotta pay a grip for the Infamous on tape still, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's possible. It's 100% possible. But that's the thing, you know. And with all of the different formats, ways to publish your music, just taking the time with your art and making sure that whatever you do, you know, will you know, resonate and will, you know, impact the people that you want it to.
Yeah, believe in yourself. Honestly,
right.
You know, I think it's more important than anything. If you don't believe in yourself, the people listening to your music will be able to tell. You know, they might not say it out loud, but they're like, oh man, I don't. That's why you see a lot of artists. They're doing so great. You know, because they believe in themselves, and that's really what it is. It's
shout out Blueface.
Shout out Blueface. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Tatiana, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? But you feel me? Like on some real stuff. Like if you're confident, people want to feel inspired. You know, by their
Migos are very confident.
Yeah,
Lil Pump is very confident.
Absolutely.
Lil Pump is a great example because my son be going crazy.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to the God.
Everyone's doing their thing. It's just like, you know, if you don't believe in your music, what makes you think? It's the same concept. People say, like, you know, love or whatever. If you don't love yourself, how can you expect anyone else to love you? You know, same thing.
Yes.
So when we talk about, you know, we're talking about record stores and distribution and stuff like that. Have you guys tried to get your records in a record store? Like Long Island has Looney Tunes. Have you reached out to them at all? Or Rough Trade in Brooklyn?
That's a good question.
That's not yet. But now that you just open Laws of Attraction, you just open my
mind up to a whole different ball. I mean, yeah, we'll definitely,
because they got a whole section for local artists. You walk right in, you make a left, local artists, A through Z.
Oh, that's awesome.
For real.
I mean, here's the thing with that. I don't know specifically with Laws. We're trying to, because so much of it was done and handled, managed, whatever, in-house, we're trying to keep that album specifically in-house. When it comes down to like record stores and things like that, like, we probably will, but this is our baby right here.
Right.
This is our first vinyl, so it's like newborn. So it's like
I still stare at it. You know?
Gotta breastfeed it.
Yeah.
No form
type.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
But the, you know, for real, I think that these are the kinds of strategies that we are going to be taking and using moving forward. We are working on new music and things like that. But we're still trying to make sure rollout and everything was solid for Laws.
Yeah,
there's still videos. There's still a lot to be done for it.
A little backstory: we both come from business, you know.
The life story.
Yeah, we both come from business. So at the end of the day, as just as important as the artistry is, we know that the business is important as well too. And what we try to achieve is to not to present in a mediocre fashion. You know, we believe in our music and we believe that it should be presented well. So
you're not factory farm, you're homegrown.
Of course, absolutely. That was the perfect way to say that.
So, do you guys have record collections of your own?
I have a little
music collections. CDs,
we have actually. Now that I think about it, yes, we absolutely do. We have crates, definitely crate diggers. You know.
Any recent acquisitions?
How about you, So?
I got the Damn album.
Oh, you got a couple of recent ones. I remember that. Yeah.
So yeah, I say Damn and the what's the gold Yay and
Watch the Throne.
Watch the Throne.
That's fire.
And I gotta Watch the Throne.
That's fire. Yeah.
But besides that, little small like I be still hitting the dollar crates heavy, especially.
You never
when
know
we
what
talk
you're gonna
about
drag out,
production,
man.
A whole other conversation. But like, or just being in, you know, a music lover, period. But point being,
those 99-cent punk compilations.
Yeah, just trust
man.
Just trust the cover. All you gotta do is trust the cover.
See what it looks like, you know.
100%. But yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, man.
So I want to talk about Rotten Apple. Because that was the first song I heard you guys perform. It's the first song on Laws. Is this? I'm sure this song has many meanings. But is Rotten Apple kind of like an ode to New York City as a whole and like the artists it created?
Absolutely. You know, it's kind of crazy. Rotten Apple writing that song. it's almost like I was speaking for the both of us. You know what I'm saying? What we've seen, what we've been through, just different nuances. Being in school, zoning out, thinking about what you want to actually be. And the boxes that you're trying to break out of. And it's the reason why I call it rotten apple, because you think apples, the Big Apple. We live, of course, in New York. The Big Apple.
The greatest city in the world.
You know what I'm saying? Apples are supposed to be healthy for you, but and it looks great outside looking in. But in all entirety, New York can be that area that can kind of drag you in. You know what I'm saying? That New Yorkers kind of know. Like, you either could, it has a certain beauty to it, but there's that undertone of, a little bit of negativity, but we try to rise above all of that. So that's what Rotten Apple is really more so about. We will maintain. We out here, we're doing it, despite what we've been through. It's cold out here, but we still we remain warm at heart. You know what I'm saying?
I don't mean to put you guys on blast, but
drop that.
how'd you guys get the Nas sample cleared?
All right, so we got that worked out through the label. It's referencing. Certain things when you're making music, if you're using it for a reference, it's not infringement. You know what I'm saying?
Like
so.
It's if it's not
Drop the knowledge, man.
hilarious.
Nah, yeah, but absolutely. But certain things, if it's not, when you use a sample and it's not like, because what people would usually do is when the sample becomes the main part of the song, it's definitely infringement. But as you can see, the way the Dwelling in the Rotten Apple was used, it was more so of a referencing, more like an ad lib. You know what I'm saying?
An interpolation.
Exactly. Right. So that's how that worked out. We spoke about that with the label for a little bit, and there's a lot of different music knowledge that the typical artist wouldn't know, and that's why it's always great to keep on doing what you do and improvise and make it work. And eventually a label will take notice, and you'll learn a lot more. Things that you won't know, contracts. There's a lot of things that you won't know coming into music and trying to take it to the next level. So yeah.
But please ask questions. Don't feel scared to ask questions. Even reaching out to producers, engineer, artists, whoever you're trying to work with. Don't feel bad hitting them with a quick message, because sometimes that may be what they want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was one thing for us. We just making sure that we were aware of these things.
Right.
It might not have turned out the same way.
Honestly, and I just want to point out, I know sometimes as an artist in New York, people could feel like they're by themselves, but we're all in this together. Don't ever feel afraid to reach out. And even with our friends, artists, alike, or people we don't even know, we're super open. You can always contact us, reach out, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. We all want to be great. We all want New York to be at, where it's supposed to be. And more than New York, I apologize. Just music in general.
Cool, we're in New York right now.
But I just want people to understand that, don't be
people
afraid.
Listening to this podcast in Germany, listening to this, they're gonna feel, man, this is New York.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Don't be afraid to reach out. Collaborate with that artist. Reach out, contact them. At the end of the day, sometimes we always feel that anti-feeling, like, oh man, he might not mess with me. He might think I'm like, oh, who am I to come up to him? Don't be afraid, man. Just you feel like someone's dope. You feel like you guys can make something work, or he has some knowledge for you, some advice. Just reach out. What's the worst that can happen? If it doesn't work out, don't carry any negativity. Just be like, okay, it didn't work out, and that'll be that.
Speaking of Nas, when I went to go see him at the Metal Festival a couple years ago, he said on what was it, the last track on Illmatic, it ain't hard to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So how we got the Michael sample cleared, Michael Jackson himself okayed it.
Right.
He got the okay from him himself.
That's the kind of
Virgo, stand up.
That was the most beautiful thing I heard from that whole performance. Speaking of Nas and Illmatic, how important was that album to you guys? I know we could do a whole podcast.
Extremely important.
To say the least. We there's definitely Nas specifically is always going to be one of those top names when you're talking about hip hop and showing love to the forefathers, the forefront. I definitely, Nas created a language, and not even created, but he's carved this language out into hip hop that we just can't forget. Like me and Iz always be talking like he don't rap. He has created a way to have a conversation with you or with whomever it is, and have a.
I consider. I want to. I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like around that era they have like I kind of coined. I'm trying to coin the phrase. I don't know if I coined it. Maybe someone else said it. Barbershop raps. All right. So like, think about it. Like you getting your haircut. You guys are just talking shit. You like, yo, my man's uptown. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's rapping like that. You know what I'm saying? And it was amazing. And so Illmatic definitely,
Memory Lane is one of those songs.
Of course. And it's just like I love, this album had a strong influence of Nas and Mobb Deep. That's something that we that is like our rap Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, we pull inspiration from them all the time. Honestly, like those are two not to say two of one of my greatest albums, Illmatic and The Infamous.
They both showed up on Laws.
Both of them
showed up on Laws.
Both of them. Yeah. I studied Nas, I studied, Prodigy, studied Havoc, studied all of them, you know what I'm saying? Especially Wu, we're heavily influenced by Wu. I think all of those guys.
You guys know about the Wu-Tang documentary that's coming out?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That trailer?
Oh my gosh. I didn't see. I heard people talking about it.
It's one of the best trailers I've ever seen. It is beautiful. You guys gotta check it out.
No, I have,
it's
of course.
Awesome. I can't wait for that. And Wu-Tang, man, we can do a whole nother thing.
Absolutely.
On the importance of Wu-Tang. Absolutely. Them individually, man, don't get me started on Liquid Swords.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Don't get me started.
But there was and honestly, I can't even say, I said just, I had to catch myself saying just Nas
RZA?
at first. No.
Okay.
There was there was a specific group of people, not like they was all together, but like there was a few artists at that time.
Seemed like it was on the Laws of Attraction tip. If I gotta be real.
Right. So, but yeah, it seemed like a language, you know what I'm saying? It seemed like they had just gotten so comfortable with the process, the writing process, that it was second nature.
You see them, I mean, if you go back and, go back into looking the music back in those times, you see them, they're always hanging out with each other. It'll be nothing to see Wu-Tang and Nas in the same room, right. And I'm saying the whole Wu-Tang, Ray, Nas, and GFK, you know what I'm saying? All of them just chilling. It's kind of like they were, you see, it's like they were all together no matter what. And it's just like, it was so cool to see artists from different parts of the city to be able to come together, make music, be on each and one of those albums, and just continuously like boost each other up and make great music,
And earlier we were talking about, going back and seeing where things come from. And I think, when I hear the AKs, I hear you guys kind of pulling from the past, but at the same time, I feel like, okay, I'm hearing these new young guys, but at the same time, I want to go back and revisit Illmatic. I want to revisit Mobb Deep. At the same time, I want to go back to see where things come from. It's like going to a library.
That's really it.
Pull this old book, and then you're going to see the new authors of today, see what they got. You know what I mean? I think the past and the present coming together is what makes music and art interesting.
Absolutely.
You can put things from the past and today and create something completely original, which is what sampling is.
Right. Sampling is beautiful.
Yeah, I want to talk about speaking about. Is that about people that like to hear themselves talk? Because, I have a podcast and I'm a radio guy. I like to hear myself talk. So
No. Not specifically people talking. I feel like, in certain things in life, I have like these two things help, learning and earning, you know what I'm saying? And learning, it doesn't matter what, you can learn anything. But I feel like some people just, kind of just speak, just excuse my, bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just talking about bullshit, you know what I'm saying? And that's really for people, that song is specifically for people who just don't do anything but talk about bullshit, nothing worth speaking about, So yeah, that's really it. To be honest, that song another one of those songs that kind of made itself. After I made the chorus, it all just kind of flew from there. The chorus, I remember making the chorus. I didn't even think it was gonna be a chorus. It's just crazy. The writing process with us is kind of crazy. You know, we take a improvisation approach. You know, it's just like we take what the beat allows us to do, and we try to make the best of what we can make within that time space. You know, it's like a science. You know, so yeah, it just kind of made itself. That song was begging for us to talk about that specifically. You know. Maybe I feel like a lot of people could kind of understand that, you know, especially sometimes New York, man. We don't got so much time to waste, man. You feel me? Like, if you're talking about bullshit, please just keep it pushing, you know?
I think it's safe to say that you guys kind of have a throwback sound. Not in a bad way.
No.
Do you guys ever, as artists, feel any pressure to have a current sound? Because I've heard certain artists say, man, I gotta quote unquote keep up with the times, or I need a record for the clubs. I need a record for the quote. I need a girl record, quote unquote. Do you guys ever feel that kind of pressure?
I feel like it exists, you know. But to be honest, I feel like us ourselves, we are, you know, progressive artists. You know, we listen to different things, and we're working and different. We have different sounds in the works. The thing is, with our music, we're kind of perfectionists with it. You know, we're not gonna release it if we don't feel like that it's at its optimal, you know, present, you know, where it should be. So it's not so much, you know, we're getting outside pressure, but us on ourselves, we're like, we want to do different kinds of music, you know. We love the throwback, the boom bap sound, but I feel like, you know, we've gotten pretty good at it, you know. Now it's just like let's expand, let's do different kinds of sounds, different kinds of music that challenges us, you know. And
it's like a natural instinct though.
Exactly. So I want to, you know, say something to those artists that feel like don't let anyone pressure you to make whatever music that you don't want to make. You make the music because you want to make it. If you don't want to make it, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, like.
If you want a beat from Premier, cool.
Yeah.
But if you want a beat from Metro Boomin, cool.
That's cool too. Don't box yourself in and don't let anyone else box you in or box you out for that matter. You know what I'm saying? You live within your own reality. Just live it, you know. People could talk as much as they want, but they don't live through the days that you do, you know?
And one big question, too, you got to ask yourself what you want from being an artist. I feel like when we started making music, it wasn't like, yo, how we going to get this bread together? It was never about that. It was something that we loved doing, and we just, you know, figured out a way to make it a public thing. Some people, you know what I'm saying, you have to have a good understanding as far as what you're expecting back from it. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't necessarily build yourself up. Like, if you want to have the world in your hands, then maybe we should have, all right, it's a different kind of conversation.
Right.
But, you know, if you are comfortable doing whatever it is you love to do, people will ride you for that. You know what I'm saying? It exists now. This is what the social media world has blown up to be. It's not about morals anymore. Forget that. If you're consistent, we gonna follow you.
That's pretty much it. Just remain consistent in your sound. You see that. Music has taken so many dips and hills, you know, with people with different kinds of music. Music, you know, you would be surprised. You're like, wow, people like it. If you remain consistent, it's not so much about that. It's your personality, your consistency. They want to hear continuous music. They want to hear the growth. They want to see where you're going with it. You know, people will pay attention if you're consistent, you know. That's really it, you know. Don't worry about so much about the little minor stuff. Everything will come into place as time moves on, you know. That's really
100%.
Big Daddy Kane said that when a trend is gone, you're gone too. Yes. So if you ride a trend, you're gonna disappear with it. But I think evolution is different from riding a trend. You can evolve your sound and you know, adopt to new stylings that you see fit for yourself. But that doesn't necessarily. You can start a trend, but you know, when the trend is gone, you'll still exist because you'll be creating. You'll be always moving forward. Yes. So I think that's the kind of conundrum certain artists have. Do I keep current? If I'm not current, am I not evolving? You know what I mean?
I think. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
There's a lot of artists, you know, and that's one thing I think that also made me comfortable. There's a lot of artists that are still making whatever we want to, old school, boom, whatever, that are getting paid to do tours. Yeah. So, and that are publishing music only, probably won't have no vinyls or no physical copies, which is fine because they've driven and created the value to get that traction. So it's like the other thing is, all going back to staying true to yourself.
Right.
Don't ever find it that you have to do something that someone else wants you to do or other people want you to do. Because, no, that's fine. Like, people are already still listening to that and probably still want to hear it. There's a whole market for it in Europe. So, to be completely honest with you.
If we got to, the whole...
Jay the Damager is out
It's out there heavy right now.
Yes, he is, absolutely. You got the Artifacts, all of them guys, they were, and even back in the 90s, they're out there now, but they were out there too. Don't get it twisted, the Jay-Z's, all of them, they were out there, Das Effects. But just going back to what you were mentioning, like, I feel like sometimes artists could really put themselves in a little bit of a bind, a pressure, At the end of the day, don't overthink, just create. It's already enough, strain to create and to just kind of like you break yourself down and build yourself up again. Just create, if you're don't worry about being current or being out of the time. Honestly, your creativity will take you into different realms. And I feel like as an artist, you hear different beats, just listen to different music, and work with different kinds of music. And trust me, your sound will be different. If you're coming from a different genre of music or a different kind of sound within the realm of hip hop and you try something else, it's going to sound completely different from what other people are doing. And that's the great part about it. You're going to have a different take on it. So just believe in yourself. Don't worry about, don't make new pressure for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
And also get comfortable being vulnerable.
Absolutely.
So it's one thing we had to teach each other and motivate each other to do is, that's with the whole thinking too much thing. Being an artist, you have to be open.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, when you say, "Okay, I'm an artist now," you wanna make some music. You gotta kind of let it free flow. You can't be like, "All right, well, I don't want to say," or not even you can't be like, but don't be so hesitant.
Absolutely.
Let it happen. Then we figure it out from there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, not
Absolutely.
even because we could bring that one out far too. But yes.
Yeah.
So, do you guys ever fear that you would wear your influences on your sleeve too much? You know what I mean?
As far as like influences of music,
Mm-hmm.
I'm to be honest, I do. I know I wear my influences on my sleeve, and I'm kind of okay with it. At the end of the day, if you see me and you see like the people I listen to, that's all right. I feel like some people, have a negative effect to that, or negative thoughts in regards to it. I'm okay. I'm completely okay with people knowing what made me me. You know what I'm saying? And like you were saying, it's kind of part of being an artist sometimes. Like, if you see me, you see Nas, that's okay. Let's have a conversation about it. I'm all right with that. What I've been listening to, who I listen to. Yeah, just don't be afraid. I'm not afraid. I've kind of just like, over the stuff that I've been through in life, I'm unafraid of people approaching me and just, telling me about myself. It's okay. So sometimes I feel like I am hanging my influences on my sleeve. Sometimes I'm not. But if you feel that I am, I want it to be that way sometimes,
And I also think it's because we're very comfortable speaking with different people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've always been very good with communication or interacting with different kinds of people, anyone for that matter, anyone who has any different interests. Like, we can have a full-blown conversation with somebody who's into rock or who's into jazz or who's into whatever the case, just because we're not – the conversation doesn't stop at, okay, well, I like this, and, at the disagreement. I want to know why you like what you like, and maybe that can inspire me in my music and our music. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I also feel like we're just comfortable being who we are because we know that it's not an issue if we meet someone new and may have a new interest we haven't been introduced to yet. We want to know that we're open to, as going back to the open thing, we're open as artists. We're willing to see new ideas or hear about new ideas and take those things on.
And what's also cool about it, like, just about the influences on my sleeve. The thing is, what's cool, I will never be Nas. I'll never be Mobb Deep. So, like, even if someone could see the influences on my sleeve, they can tell that I've, enveloped it within my own music and my own self, that it might pop out, but that's not who I am. I've used that, and I've used that as inspiration to develop a new entity within myself,
So, I'm sure the conversation with you guys as a group, you guys never talked, oh, we're going to be the next so and so.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
We do. I feel like we've definitely had that.
Yeah.
We definitely had that conversation. I feel like it's inspirational. You know, of course we won't necessarily be the next whatever. We'll be our own selves. But I feel like it's just so cool to like, you know, it's more so like, you know, we start to kind of idolize some of the artists of, you know, the past, and we just say, wow, so amazing that they took the world on by storm. Being an artist, you have to break so many different boxes and literally say, I'm going to do this. And, you know, everyone's going to have to be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really the inspirational part. You think about Junior Mafia, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about the whole story and how they came about. It's crazy, you know, like back in those times, like where were they getting the means? You know what I'm saying? And that's really the inspirational part to us. You see groups like TDE and all these other groups around the world coming about. I think it's so cool. You know, of course, I'll sit down and be like, yo, man, you see what they're doing? I love it. I want to kind of incorporate it or try something out and, you know, just use it as inspiration, as a fuel for moving forward.
I kind of like what Brockhampton is doing.
Saying, they're cool as hell.
We're the biggest boy band around.
Oh, my God, right?
You know, they're not saying we're the next blank. We are the biggest boy band out right now. I think that's dope because nobody in rap is doing that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Even that, I'm happy you brought up Brockhampton. Alternative more so.
I guess
because they switch it up.
Because it's cool because like now we have like hip hop is like breaking up into different subgenres. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And it's so cool that now hip hop has an alternative, you know, genre. Because I feel like there's so much music in hip-hop. People are so quick to say it sounds like this. Even trap in itself or any other sound. It's not even trap anymore. You know what I'm saying? Things have just broken down to a level where you just can't categorize it anymore. So alternative might be the best term, you know, or alternative hip-hop. You know?
But it's cool where you can have people like me and Iz who are super into the hip-hop thing appreciate a group like Brockhampton. Like, we literally are playing Brockhampton videos with Momo. Of course.
Shout outs to Momo.
Right. But you know what I mean? Like, it is something that we're just comfortable with. We're open to, like, Brockhampton is reason I keep saying it is just like, you know, things like that people some people might not imagine. You know what I mean? And I don't ever want people to feel like it has to be, you know, uniform. Like, you have to only listen to hip hop when you're only be inspired or only, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Use that as inspiration when you're creating. No, like, listen to see what makes Brockhampton why are they so great? What is it about their brand and about their image makes them who they are? That's what we should study too, because
of course,
you know, how they impact their own audience and things of that nature. It even is bleeding out into hip hop, like we're saying now. Well, we can have conversations about Brock.
Yeah, there's a lot of rock artists, you know, collaborating with hip hop artists as well, or just not rock specifically. You know, King Cruel. I love King Cruel. Right. That's my dude. You know, collaborating with dudes like Wiki Speaks and other hip hop artists. It's always so cool to see different artists from different genres come together.
Be in parquet courts.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's so cool to see different artists coming together and just make their own art. And it's crazy because like it's just like, whoa, this is something new. You know what I'm saying? Like the best of both worlds are coming together right now.
Yeah. And I think Grandmaster Caz said it the best. Like, hip-hop kind of didn't invent anything. It reinvented everything.
Wow, yeah,
you know
absolutely.
I mean? Because hip-hop music is jazz. It comes from the jazz, comes from blues. You know what I mean? Hip-hop music is an embodiment of music.
Yeah.
It is music. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I think hip-hop has always been, like, what was going on in Atlanta. They're influenced by what happened in New York, but they created a totally different sound.
Oh, of course.
Down in Houston, they were doing some other next level stuff, and out in the, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's always been. It started out regional, but they're all inspired by where it came from in New York. But hip hop has always been very diverse to me. If you really love hip hop music, you know already that there's already different sounds within hip hop.
Of course.
Because if you listen to Wu-Tang and the Roots. Yes, they're both hip hop groups, but they're totally different.
And they're sampling.
Speaking of the Roots,
from here, from there, or they're, you know what I'm saying, not even just the audio, and probably actual like quotes and things like that from certain people. Like, these people are really like, what do they call it? Like melting pot. Like it's sick like that. Where, you know, that's what makes hip hop great. Is you can have the country sample with the what they call it, the kung fu.
Yeah. It's cool.
With you know what I'm saying, and then throw some rap vocals on there and have a girl have some shorty blowing, and you know what I'm saying. So it's like
right.
You can, just depending on how open you are, you can make it diverse. You can make it, not just one, basically, just, I guess, more direct. Not more direct, but make it be more than just one sound.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's always going to be multiple inspiration. I feel like no matter where you go or however you know what I'm saying.
100%.
And you guys have said you're working on new stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of ideas you guys have for another project? What's the direction you're going to take the new
this album, the directive that we're kind of moving forward on is just like something new. Definitely newer sounds. I
think Laws gave us a great infrastructure framework
Mm-hmm.
for how, at least on a distribution publishing end, how we can do things, and then also music wise, it showed us what we could do. You know what I'm saying? When we got an idea of how the streaming came back for us, it wasn't as bad as we thought or what we planned for. So with the new stuff, it's more so just like, okay, now we have the time and energy to really do and crank out whatever it is that we're trying to do based on how we know our first, EP dropped. So, I mean,
what I also, more specifically, just kind of reminding myself, I still want to continue to develop on the spiritual nuances that we have in the music. I just feel like that's it right there. Kind of just like digging deep. So whatever we present, it's going to be something. It's going to come from deep in within us. Not so much as always going to have to be like deep or whatever,
right.
But it's just like what we're pulling from for the music, it's not just us, we're tapping into the spiritual side, you know what I'm saying, to really bring the best of what we can, and just having fun, honestly. So yeah, spiritual, definitely. We have a couple of coin names that we're working with. We're working with a lot of different people. We're coming together, bringing a lot of like-minded individuals and great, artists and musicians, and it's going to be great. I can already see. We already have a couple, tracks in the works, and they sound amazing in my opinion.
Yes, 100%.
So what are your guys' thoughts on the current hip hop landscape as a whole now?
Very, very, very more diverse than ever. Of course, like it's diverse as far as the artists, because if we want to talk about hip hop, we could talk about the artists and the audience as well. I feel like the amount of diversity in hip hop is not equivalent to the diversity within the audience. Not so much the audience isn't diverse, but the numbers it's kind of weird, right? It's kind of like it inflated in one area, and in different areas it kind of just doesn't spread out as well. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they call it the mainstream, of course. But I feel like hip hop is ever changing. Things change every single day. A sound can be, a sound could really move forward for like couple months to a year, and next year we're on a whole different wave. And it's kind of cool in that way. Just keeps you on your toes, keeps you wanting to move forward and to try new things. So hip hop is cool, it's great in my opinion. But I think I just want to see people do great, not so much, not that they're not doing greater things, but I want people to, really try to raise the bar. You know what I'm saying? That's really it. Raise the bar. I feel like sometimes people could kind of just be satisfied with just being, just meeting a standard. Like, let's break the standards. Let's not have any more standards in hip hop. Let's raise the bar. Yeah.
I feel because it's so sad, because there's so much music coming out right now. I feel like everybody's playing this silent waiting game.
Yeah.
Like everybody, we're not even gonna say it. No one's gonna ever say it, but it's like I feel like everybody's waiting for like the next thing. It's cool. It's because it's so saturated. There's these lanes being created for people that are that are making a certain kind of music we may not have heard yet, or really maxing out a certain sound that, you know what I'm saying? I think, you think somebody like Drake, I'd hate to bring him up. There's a lot of names we could bring up, but I have to give it to the homie, right? Because he has a sound. He had, he came out with a specific kind of vibe, but still was able to divvy that up into different
pockets,
moods, different pockets, right? So it's like, that's something that I feel like, if anything, should be, that's what we should be looking up to, things like that. Whereas
knowing where your strengths are.
For close to a decade.
Yeah.
Dog, that's what I'm saying.
It's crazy.
But every time, no matter
he knows
what,
his strengths,
right.
and he uses it to the best of his ability, and that's what I mean about raising the bar. Right. There can be many people who with that same kind of mind state. My favorite kind of sound right now is definitely like, the future sound. You have the Selection radios. You have the Chicago. I feel like Chicago is really going crazy right now. You have the Raven Lenays, the Monte Bookers. You know what I'm saying? Shout outs to all of them. Zero Fatigue, Smino, Saba. I can go crazy. And I love everything that they're doing, and I feel like they're on a unit. No Name Gypsy. Right. Oh my gosh. Can't forget that. And they're Mick Jenkins. We can go crazy. Alex Wiley. They're all on a united front, and they're moving forward, and it's just beautiful to see. And I feel like, I can't wait. And I already feel like that wave is coming. People love that future sound. They're taking it and they're making the sound super lush and clean and clear and deep and amazing. And, you have the artists super eclectic, super different, manipulating their voices and the experiences that they had in life.
Sound for the future, not Future's sound?
Oh, not Future, not specific.
Confused with.
Not. I know, right?
Yeah.
like the sounds of tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
And it's just great to see that. I love that music. It gets me. That's another sound that kind of like clicks in my ear, and I feel like those guys, if artists can kind of make that united front, put aside all the whatever the anger, the beef, just put that aside. Let's just come together and push the music forward. We can do even greater things and reach even greater heights. Right now hip hop is still taking the forefront, but if the more we break up, we need to come and unify and just make sure we don't plateau. Right. Yeah.
With that said, we're going to wrap it up for level 23 of My Little Underground. The AKs, thank you guys for so much for coming through the show today.
Thank you so much.
Where can people follow you on social media or whatever, websites?
You can follow us on everything on the AKs NY. That's TheAKSNY. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud. You can look us up on Apple Music, Spotify, The AKs. Laws of Attraction is on all streaming platforms. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Right.
Very futuristic.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you want to speak to us, please feel free to reach out. We'll definitely respond. I think we're pretty easy to speak to.
Of course.
Yeah, you guys are very approachable guys.
Yeah.
Even if it's questions, all that, you know what I'm saying? And also, being an artist, having, like we said, with the having people there to support you kind of thing. So I'm saying, don't ever hesitate kind of thing.
Never, ever.
Yeah, it's completely understood.
Yes.
So level 23.
Thank you guys.
My Little Underground. It's Peter A. Subscribe. All podcast platforms. Make sure you follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at MLU Pod. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well at Peter A. Radio. Level 23, the AKs, My Little Underground.